With that, we'll open it up for questions. Yes, ma'am.
Leader McCarthy, yesterday outside the White House, you said you don't think anyone disputes the legitimacy of the election. Well, just yesterday in the committee hearing, you had 3 members talk about the January 6th being perhaps peaceful. You had 2 members of Congress in the villages over the weekend saying that Joe Biden did not win the election, that President Trump is still the president. And in every single poll, a majority of Republicans think that Joe Biden did not legitimately win the election. So how do you stand by that statement that you don't think anybody questions the legitimacy of the election, and how do you square that?
You know, I appreciate your question. We're here to honor on a National Police Week. There are times for politics and there's times for not, but with all due respect, I think I've answered your question, but I'd like to honor the national officers, the men and women who lost their lives, and those who are protecting us right now.
Well, what do you say to the 3 members yesterday in the committee hearing who just talked about about January 6th?
Go right ahead.
What are you going to do to address members, some of your members, like Representative Gosar, Clyde and Hyde, have disparaged law enforcement and said that January 6th?
Well, with all due respect, I was right here with Congressman Clyde laying a wreath for a fallen officer outside of his district.
Leader McCarthy,
yes.
There's a Metro police officer named Michael Fanone who was injured during the insurrection, and he's been trying to call your office and get a hold of you and talk about
I just found out about this yesterday. That he had called the office, and he called over the other office, and they said they gave him the name of my scheduler, schedule a meeting. I'd like to meet with him.
So you will meet with him?
Oh, yes, most doubtedly.
And I have another question, just reiterating, you know, these members say that the insurrection was like a capital for one of them is here with you. I'm curious what you feel about that when clearly, you know, people died during the insurrection.
I mean, what happened on the 6th was atrocious, went through, and nobody, when I look at the rioters that came in, those people should be held accountable to the rule of law, and that's exactly what's happening.
But what about the members that are saying this?
Yes.
Yeah. So, what can Americans do moving forward to show support and love for the police at a time where many in the mainstream media have been very hostile towards the police?
You know, the first thing I think people should do is be able to respect the job that the men and women do every day. I don't think people walking out that talk about cutting the police, the struggle that they have is even greater today than it was years before. We saw one of the deadliest years that we haven't seen where they lost their lives in protection and security and safety. We have people across America afraid to go out in their communities, afraid to be out at night. I think we should all take a very deep breath and understand the men and women come from all walks of life, and they all do it for one reason, kind of what the sheriff talked about, making a difference. And I think the respect we should give them goes above and beyond, and I don't think we should be cutting them. I think we should help and support and give them the training that they need in the community policing. That's something that we put forward in our commitment to America. That we'd actually add money, more body cameras, more community training, more community policing. With that, in a week that we want to honor those that gave the ultimate sacrifice, many of us never knew them. But they ran in when the bullets were being fired. They came when we called, even if you didn't support them, and they're there to protect you, to make your community safer. Thank you and have a good week.